Sure. Can you hear me, Coach?
I can hear you, bro.
Yeah, yeah. How's it, Coach? How's it?
No. It's a trend when
Nah, ngiyaphila, Coach. Under the circumstances, yeah. But hey, we must
yeah,
soldier on. We can't keep complaining.
yeah, we have to even though it's
Mm,
difficult times.
mm. Normally, on our chats, when we have someone over, we basically want them to give us a brief introduction on who they are, babuya kuphi. I'm sure some of the guys that are here on the chat, they don't really know who Coach Tebza is because the time when you were
Yeah,
playing, they were not even playing yet. You understand? Just a brief
yeah,
introduction about it. Yeah.
yeah. At least have a clue who at least is a coach, so maybe the playing time we should keep because if you use amateur 2000,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, no, it's fine. Tebogo Moloi, born and bred in Rockville, Soweto.
Mm,
Meeting grade 7 or standard 5, relocated to Botswana. When I was doing my matric, I joined Pirates. They saw me playing against them a friendly game in 1986.
mm,
Uh, yeah, basically that's it because of from a lot of people actually they're surprised so far when I tell them that when I joined the Pirates and I was still at school, I never used to train with the team. I used to train alone in
mm,
Botswana, which is Mafikeng. At that time, the road were not as good as they are today. Today, going home, I take about an hour and a half to an hour 45 minutes. I hope you don't ask me what speed am I driving, because a lot of people always have their own opinion when I say I take about an hour, 30 minutes, an hour 45.
mm,
That time it used to be with the Kumbi that Pirates used to send to fetch me to come for games over the weekend. It was
mm,
a trip of about 4 hours. And then if they send me money to come in a luxury bus, I'd catch the bus at 7 in the morning and end up in Braamfontein at about 12:30, quarter to 1, depending on the amount of people that are in the bus, because the bus then would leave from Mafikeng to Itsoseng, and then the first stop would be your Kruger stop, then the next
mm.
stop would be your Rodiport, and then the next stop would be your Joburg. And then
Yeah.
jumping off the bus at quarter to 1, straight to Orlando Stadium, the Kumbi will be waiting for me, Rotunda, and then I go straight to the game, 3 o'clock kickoff, if I'm in the starting lineup, which was rare that I was not in the starting lineup as young as I was. So you can imagine that after traveling almost 5 hours and then without even resting, and then inside the Pirates Kumbi, if the players were camping on a Friday because of I couldn't make it for camp on a Friday night, I had to travel on a Saturday morning. They will get me your king clip and chips, have my king clip and chips in the Kumbi, straight into the field at 3, finish playing at 5, and then go to my granny's house, Rockville,
Mm,
and then Sunday, 3 o'clock, catch the bus back to Mafikeng, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I'm at home, doing my schoolwork and preparing for Monday back to school. So
mm.
that was my life, 1987. Every weekend, I had to travel 5 hours or 4 hours to come and play, and then and I never complained. So that is why maybe today, when I hear a lot of players talk of fatigue, what is fatigue? I did it week in, week out, and And that time, it was because of I loved Pirates, and I was taught and I was brought up understanding what it means to wear the jersey. Because of, to take it into consideration, we played even in a cup final, first leg JPS in Durban, and I only joined my teammates on a Saturday afternoon, because I remember even the coach then, Jingles Pereira, had to take chances, fielding a player that is not training with the rest of the guys. Because I remember that day on Saturday when I landed at about 11, I had to be rushed to where they were preparing our JPS Cup final traveling tracksuit, because I was very small, Mumzimba. So they had to make sure that it is the right size. So my tracksuit was knitted at the last minute and had to wait. At about 4, I got the tracksuit, went home to Rockville, so that at 6, when the bus comes to pick me up, because of our flight that Saturday night was at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in Durban, played the game on Sunday, scored a goal in the cup final, my first cup final as a professional player. And then apparent and unfortunate part is that the second leg we lost it 2-0, and then the replay scored again. We lost 2-1. So, it wasn't easy for me, but I had to sacrifice because of the love that I had for Pirates and the understanding that I grew up knowing what the spiritual owners of the team expect from a player, especially if you have a father that was performing magic for this team. I had to live up to that expectation, even though it was difficult because of whatever that I did or how I played. They would always say my father would have done better than what I was doing. They never looked and appreciated what I could do. It has always been the case. And I had a very difficult or a very tough upbringing and growing up. Even when I was a youngster, playing in the streets. Just because I was the son of one of the greatest players that South Africa has ever produced, I would be compared to him. Even scoring the ball with a head or taking a shot, they would tell you that your father would have scored it with a swag or with something different from what you did. So it was a lot of pressure, but I enjoyed myself. Besides being compared to him all the time.
Now, Coach, what I want to ask is, you speak about the pressure that you had because your father was a legend of this game, was a legend of Pirates, and also the fact that when you play for a team like Pirates, it takes a lot of sacrifice. And I remember, I think it was a week or so ago, I had a conversation with Yeyeli Tolonyane, where I asked him, how difficult is it to play for those two teams? He said the first thing that he did when he went to Naturena was he sat outside the gate. The security asked him, is he ready for what is going to happen inside? So he said he took like 10 to 15 minutes sitting outside thinking of the decision that he made, that he wants to join this team. How much pressure is it to play for those two teams? Is the pressure still there today, or was it just there back in the day?
Wearing a Pirates jersey is a pressure every day. I'll be honest to you. But like I always tell people, that I was very fortunate and very lucky that 1985, I
was not even born.
Yeah, sorry. You actually correct when you say I must actually explain where do I come from with this game.
Yeah.
1985, in Buputatwana, the president then, it was a homeland, and it was one of the richest homelands in all the other 3 homelands that we had in South Africa. So the president there decided to have a professional soccer league, which was called Bobsol. So with Bobsol, you would get a chance to play against the NSL teams. And unfortunately, now and again, I would be selected. As young as I was, how old was I at that time? 85, 87, 19. So I was about 17 or 16 going for 17. So I would get a chance to play against your Bloemfontein Celtic after they won the Mainstay Cup. We would play a lot of our friendlies against Morocco Swallows. And that's why I say that the Pirates, they spotted me when they came to play against us in Mafeking. So I was more prepared by those games to play in front of bigger crowds. Because, you know, in a homeland, you can imagine if they say in a homeland, Pirates is coming, so or Swallows is coming, or Bloemfontein Celtic, they've just won the Mainstay Cup, so everybody will flock to the stadium. And you had to perform and to show that Bobsol was not far off from the NSL League. And I think those games helped me and prepared me to be a better player and be ready when I come to play for Pirates. But also, my father played a big role because of he played for Pirates, and he had prepared me very well because of, you must understand, when I joined Pirates was financially bankrupt at that time. They didn't have money. So each and every stand that we got from the gate taking, from there was the pirate ladies at that time also who were doing other stuff, you know, and the chairman that time, 60 Mali, was a taxi owner. So some of the money would come from the taxis collection at the end of the day when they come in to check in the amount of money that they make. So he would balance here and there to pay the players, but most importantly, we were paid by the supporters. The more the supporters come to the stadium, the easier it is going to be paid. So I was already introduced to that and already been prepared to say, if you're going to play for Pirates, you need to entertain, so that the following week, the supporters that leave must go and tell the others who didn't come to the game to say that you missed out on 1, 2, 3. So I was prepared, but playing for both teams, it's an enormous journey that one must take. But I don't want to talk for our rivals because of I never wore the jersey, so I can't say anything about because of they were actually born from the team that I joined. So obviously Brake, from being a Pirates player, so he set up the standard as high as when he was a Pirate. So playing for Pirates, I'll be honest to you, for me it was not pressure. I wouldn't say pressure, but for me it was understanding that you are carrying the feelings, you are carrying the decisions of the breadwinners of each and every family in the country, not only in Orlando or in Soweto, but in the whole of South Africa. You know, I remember when we got a helping hand from Chibuk. There was a boss of Chibuk, Ron Schroeder. You know, before we played the semi-final against the Vets in the JPS Cup semi-final, he said to us, there will be Orlando Stadium that time. He said there will be about 50,000 to 60,000 coming to root you so that you go to the final. Besides the 60,000 that will be there at the stadium, he asked us that how many will be watching, eagerly waiting to watch that game on TV that are Pirate supporters. And then he said, how many will be listening on the radio, those who don't have TVs, that are Pirate followers. And he said to us, how many are eagerly waiting for buying the newspaper because they don't have maybe electricity or they don't have money to buy. You know, that time the radios would be connected with a big battery called the PM10. So,
the big one.
Yeah, the big one. So he said, how many would be waiting eagerly to buy the newspaper on a Monday morning so that they can be able to read about the game. So that is the magnitude that he showed us of how many followers support the team. So for me, it wasn't like it was pressure or you are carrying the nation in your hands, on your shoulders. And you know, today actually when I was preparing for your interview, I asked myself, I said, a lot of people are not aware that when I joined Pirates was turning 50 years. And because of Pirates didn't have the financial strength, or by then, anniversaries were not celebrated. Because we only started celebrating our anniversary. It was the 65th anniversary when the chairman said, what is it that I can do for all these great players that have donned the black and white jersey? And he introduced the anniversary to Orlando Pirates because it wasn't there. Now today when I look at the other teams, you know, the other teams that are celebrating 50, there are a lot of them, you know, and they're financially strong, they have the financial muscle, the players that are playing there, they're mentally motivated to understand that it is the 50th anniversary. But can you imagine that if it was being celebrated when I joined it, and here I am, not being a player that is training with the team, but coming only on weekends to perform the way that I did. Can you imagine what kind of an anniversary it would have been? The team also 50th anniversary going to the JPS final, and in that team the oldest and senior players, it's only 3 players. Nick Sishweni was the late Bazooka. I think he was about 27 or 28. Basil Steenkamp, also in his late 20s. Metro Police Mandla Sitole, also in his late 20s. The rest of us, I remember myself, I was 19, the youngest player in the cup final. Tipo Skonde, the left back, was 20 years old. And then the rest of the other guys, they were not older or older than 25. So it was a team of youngsters, inexperienced, first-time cup final, except for the 3 guys that I mentioned that have already been with other teams. Basil was with Sundown. Metropolis played in the era of Jomason with Bazooka, and all of them, they've been to mainstay cup finals before all of us in the team. So that's why I'm saying that playing for Pirates is like playing for the nation, because even today you can see when, you know, I remember when we were winning, we were defending the treble, you know, and they would show on the big screen at the stadiums, you know, you'd see your minister playing in Zimbabwe is there, Minister Mufuma Hadi was there, you know. It tells you the effects that we have even on the political running of the country. That is how big Orlando Pirates is, you know. It is the Pirates is a trendsetter. Like I'm telling you that about the anniversary, the style that, you know, we can say Chiefs is glamorous, Braque too, but Braque learned everything from one team. And that team, you know, it has been the trendsetter, you know, 1973, clean sweep. It was the first team ever in South Africa. The double treble, back to back, the first team, no other team, you know. You know, we win a trophy one, then but defend the league, the trophy one there. You know? But Pirates, we go to the extreme. So there's always a wonderful and good memories about it. I can go as far as even to the development. Whatever we set up for development, there's a team now that is very successful with their development, but the model is from Pirates. They are using that model. You know, Pirates were translators. We set a lot of things into fire, and everybody follows. But for me, it is a good thing to say that you learn from a big team and you surpass it, and you make whatever that you see them doing, you make it better. I mean, before Sundowns went to Africa, Piso was always saying, I want to go to Pirates, and ask them how do they do it to go to Africa. Now Piso has won the stuff for Sundowns. You know, for me, it is a fulfilling to say that Pirates set up the standard and the other teams, they follow and they surpass that standard, and which is good for South Africa and for South African football. I mean, now people always say that I'm a dreamer, but I say it's okay. I'm South African, and I know that in South Africa we haven't reached our potential. If in Egypt, in Morocco, in Algeria, you can have in the Champions League two of their big teams playing in the final, why can't in South Africa dream one day to see a derby in the Champions League final, or a Sundowns versus Pirates, or a Sundowns versus Chiefs? I'm not taking away anything from the other teams, but I'm looking at the financial muscle that these three teams have to be able to compete in the continent. So you can imagine if two of South African teams play in the final. You know, the day that happens, I think I will stop netball. No more football for me. I'll be happy that now, as South Africa, we are where we belong, and that is on top.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've been watching these retro games happening on SABC, and I'm sure it brings back memories. And for guys like us who grew up at a later stage, couldn't watch you play when you were young, it was a big thing for us. And now, when you watch yourself playing those games, how do you feel, Coach?
It excites me, and at the same time, it pains. There's one game that really pained me. It was the game against Kaizer Chiefs, because even now I get emotional to watch that game, even though I don't have it in my collection. But when I saw it, it brought a lot of sadness, and I became emotional that Saturday. You know, when we played against Kaizer Chiefs and we lost 2-0. Sorry, we lost 2-0. It was 3 games in 3 following weeks. The first week we played Chiefs, mainstay semi-final. We played Chiefs, mainstay semi-final, and I scored early in the 23rd, 27th minute. In the last minute, Chiefs equalized, and we had to play replay. Replay, we lost 1-0 to Chiefs. The third week, that is why when you watch that game, it is like there were no supporters, but people were tired of having 3 derby games in succession. So can you imagine that the first week I score a goal, second week we lose 1-0, the third week on a Friday my father passes away, and on a Sunday I'm asked, Sunday morning, the officials come, you know, movement of us abantu abamnyama kumele kulungiswe indlu, amatrasi abekwe phansi, yonke into. You know, we're busy doing all those things. Then on Sunday morning, the official arrived. They say that, look, listen, we need you to come and play. The team needs you. And a haste-up meeting is being held. Lapo, at about 10:30, 11, I'm taken into the Pirates Kumbi, Ellis Park, and I perform. And a lot of people I see now, they were tweeting and that I dribbled with my head. I made my friend alale phansi, and I was saying to people, you guys are picking a lot of other things, but you're not aware that that day for me, I was in mourning, and I had to go and perform. And a lot of people, they say big ups, to show that I was strong. But the only thing that I know as a black young boy growing up, Uguti, for one to forget your troubles at home, Uguti, there's no bread or there's hardships and what. We used to go out to the field and play the game, and then only when you get back home, those problems resurface. Yoguti, ekhaya, there's no food, there's no this, but to us, football and going to that field, it was like a place where it says forget all the problems and enjoy yourself. So when I watched that game, it brought me sadness because of, again, here's a man that said to me, I want you to go out there and play the way that you've been playing when you're playing here in the Bobsol League. But let me tell you, from 1988 until you retire, because he said to me, at age 27 or 8, I want you to retire from football. It would have been enough. I said to him, but there's an Ace, he's now 30-something, he's still playing. There's a Jomo, he's 30. He says, no, you're not going to be like that. I want you, by age 28, 27, you'd have achieved everything that you must achieve in football, and you must retire. So it's my first season. I'm still trying to find my feet. I'm still trying to understand the different type of football that is being played in Joburg. The pressure that comes with wearing the Pirates jersey, because I'm being given now the number 8 jersey that he used to wear. I'm expected to perform miracles like he did. And then I score against Chiefs, replay, we lose. Okay, it's not a train smash. I'm looking forward to 1988 to say that I'm going to be trained and I'm going to become this better player that I've always wanted to be. Then the man passes away. So you can imagine what happens to a youngster that is doing his matric, just finished writing his matric exams, and then what is in store for me 1988. So when I look at this game, some of them, I see, there are some of them where you don't see me even in the starting lineup, or you don't see me taking part in them. Some of them you find that I wasn't there because of 1989. I left the team only to come back 1990 because of I felt that I wanted just to be away from football. There were so many challenges that I couldn't deal with, and I needed somebody to help me overcome them, and I didn't have anyone. So I needed to come up with answers and solutions. And some of the other games, I'm not around here at home. I'm overseas. So, when you've gone overseas, there should be other players who are at home and keep the fire burning, So it's exciting, and I don't want people to really analyze those games with an eye of a tactical eye. You must analyze them with an eye of talent, technical ability, and how we brought the supporters back to the stadium. Because, like I said earlier, that ours was to make sure that the paying customer can come back next week. And today it is different. It is business. There's a lot that is at stake. There's now tactics. There's a lot that is happening. But those games, if you somebody that enjoys talent and the shibobos and all these funny things that we are doing there, those are your games that you want to watch.
Yeah. Earlier on, you spoke about how you guys at Pirates were not really paid because the team was depending on the gate takings and also from the money that was coming from the Orlando Pirates ladies. If you look at football these days, there's money coming from the broadcasting, there's sponsors and everything, but we're not getting the crowd sitting on the stands. Is it because of the quality of football that's being played, or is just people, they like, nah, you know what, I'd rather sit at home and watch it on TV?
No, I wouldn't say that. You know, what I would say is that we do have the talent. We do have players that can showcase what their ability. But the challenge is a talented player. I said to you, get Usfiso from Epuquin. You see him, you like him, you can see what he can do. But the challenge for Usfiso when he joins a bigger team or when he joins a professional team, which is a challenge to him, is that how does he take his individual brilliance and bring it into the system of this team that he has joined? So now that becomes a challenge. Now, if he can't figure it out, nobody else can help him to figure it out, because of you as a coach, you have a certain way of wanting things to be done. But if our players from Epuquini, they get a challenge of how do I overcome and how do I bring in my individual brilliance into this system, Engitolayo Labu Pirates. And whenever I bring this individual brilliance, it mustn't interfere with the flow of your game and with the style say game say Pirates. If it interferes, then it means there's something wrong with Yenza. But you know, I always say that for you to be able to do certain things, you know, like me now, for example, if the game is flowing, if you polarize a game, I would control it in a certain way that will make the paying customer to smile and be happy. If I get the ball and it's a 1v1 situation, I would tell the left back or the right back, don't overlap. I don't need you there. I need to showcase what I have so that the paying customer can be happy. It is the understanding also of the other players to understand what this talent, Yagas Fiso, how do we take it out so that the rest of the people that are watching the game can enjoy it. You know, your practical example is your Barcelona. They play 2-touch, 1-touch, but when the ball gets to Messi, he either has more than 1 touch or he can have his 1-touch or 2-touch. But his 1-touch, it is that defense splitting pass, or it is Iswegnyana Yowenza something, you know, with his second touch, you know. So this is what our youngsters need to understand, that you will bring the people back for as long as you do what you are gifted in, for as long as also that doesn't interfere the flow of game, the flow the style of team. So it is a challenge to a player to try and balance the two. And I think also when the player experiences that problems, some coaches don't have the patience to try and understand this player and try and see how can they help him to gel in and fit in using his style of play and still being able to get the result and the performance. I mean, a perfect example, I once asked Ted that how does he let Uskara do what he does, and it's a counter-attack. And then he says, no, I've told him that, look, when you receive the ball, it was let's say, for example, 4 Kaizer Chiefs players versus 2 whatever opponent's players. And for you to do the 360 degree, by the time you wanted to go forward, it was already a 4v. So now the 360 degrees says, when you turn around and you want to go and attack, now you've delayed the counter attack. Now it's a 4v4. But if it's a 4v4, in that 4v4, if you can eliminate 1 or 2 opponents, and then we still become superior in number, where it's a 4v3 or a 4v2 again, and we end up getting the shot at goal, or we end up getting a corner kick, because of, we can't say had he played that ball when it was a 4v2, it was a guaranteed goal. But that is how you encourage him and stop and show the player that if you do this, this was the situation, can you reverse the situation again to suit us, be superior to our opponents, and still end up with the result Paling. You know, when Ted said, then I realized that sometimes as a coach, it is not easy because of you want number results. You find that last week Udliwe or Utrowile. Now, when a player that the township start doing that, and you under pressure, you start putting the pressure on the player, and the player now goes into a shell, and then he doesn't perform. And when because of this young player from a tournament, maybe Moloi, Dumisani Piri, or the Phillies games. Now you say, Marus Fiso Magadala La Pananala there and there, he plays better than when he played for his premiership team. So it is a give and take and an understanding between the player and the coach and the situation that the team it finds itself in at that time. But mostly, I'd say that a lot of coaches need to be able to make the player understand when you do this, how is it going to benefit us? And the player also need to express himself when he talks to the coach, to say, Coach, I do understand, and I think I can use it like this. And there must be that two-way conversation between the player and the coach. I know some coaches will say that, no, we don't have time for that, but I still believe, and I say it, that is our strength. That is what you guys saw us do. And it is said that you listen to the TV or you're watching a Champions League game, especially when Zidane was still playing. Zidane will do something spectacular on a ball, and then we'll go, wow, what skill from Zidane. But Mohammed Township, you see even your 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds doing that. So why can't we encourage that, but encourage it in a positive way?
I think that's one of the tricky part with football these days, especially with this terminology of modern football, whereby you see a player like you were saying, Usfiso, Ubuye Pukwini, he's very skillful. He can do anything that he wants with the ball. Now he comes and joins Itimiaga Domza with Coach Tebza is his coach. Now Coach Tebza wants the results because he wants his job to be safe. Usfiso manje can't do the 360s and whatnot. Usfiso manje umele controlling at PlayStation. You understand? And now I think that's where we're losing it in football because now we're no longer showing our true reflection of what South Africans are made of. I understand, Coach.
Yeah, we always say that South Africa, we have a unique style. It is not a unique style. It is not a unique style. We were too long in isolation. Players before my generation, they would entertain. The only thing that we knew on a weekend is that I'm going to the stadium and I'm going to be entertained. Now, when we got readmitted, we started opening our eyes and seeing, your English football, your Italian football, your other professional leagues, how things are being done, how the game is. It has been played that we were not exposed to. But here we are. We have our thing. We have something that entertains our people. So now, how can we take what we have and put it on paper or put it on that playing field and say to the people out there, yes, we've taken 1 or 2 things from your game, but we are not throwing away what we have. We are going to continue with what we have, but doing it to benefit the times that we find ourselves in. Because of, like I said, Mina, I played entertaining football. So if you ask yourself, okay, how was I scouted to go and play in Turkey? It was a game against Arsenal. And I did what I learned when I was a young boy. I didn't play your one touch or two touch. Scouts from Greece, scouts from Turkey, and they were interested to sign me, but I ended up opting for a Turkey. Why? Because of that. I'm not going to change that because of now I am going to take or I'm going to play. I continue with what I have because of, like I said to you, if Zidane does something or if Messi does something which is similar to what we have, we praise it. But I am going to do what I have in a positive way without disrupting iflow game or disrupting a system the team that is new to me. But they need to know that when that man gets the ball, we expect it is a given that he will do 1-2. So it is also up to us as a country to say that this is our weapon, this is our strength. How are we going to use our strengths against the European countries? I mean, you go back to your Brazil, 1970 was the last time Brazil won the World Cup. They had to win the World Cup again 1980, 1980, I think 82 was Spain, 86 was Mexico, 1990 was America in the US. And Ronaldo was a what you call it, a sub. The real Ronaldo.
The 94 one.
Yeah, the 94
that's the 94 one, yeah. Where Baggio missed the penalty.
Now look at how long did it take Brazil from 70 to 94. But they've never, till today, they've never thrown away their identity. What they did was they had a lot of players now playing outside the country, learning and seeing different things. But to say that the Brazilian players will change their style and the way that they play, they never. Instead, whatever that they learned, apparently, they brought it to Brazil. Exactly, but they took, I mean, let's say they took about 30 to 40% of what was not in Brazil, but 60%, it's still their identity. The same with us. Why can't we say 60% must be us, and then the other percentage must be from the outside countries? Because number one, I know that we, as a South Africans, concentration is one of the biggest things. Tactical discipline is another problem. So if we can maybe fix the concentration rate, tactical discipline rate, understanding where, when, why do I do this at this certain areas in the field, then smash about do with what we have.
Yeah, it's true what you're saying, because I remember this boy, when Neymar did something, every publication was like, Neymar is mesmerizing everyone. But then Uchomo did the same thing on Mahali. They were like, he's showboating, he's killing the team, his team is not winning, why would you do that? He's not going in a but that's a story for another day, coach.
No, but now let's talk. But you know what you said. I think go to YouTube, ne? Look at the Neymar in Brazil and look at the Neymar in Spain. In Europe. Ne? You will see that there's a little bit of improvement, but 70% that you see in Neymar in Brazil, you still see. But there's 30% that he has cut out. So it is the same, Nati, that cut out a certain percentage, but keep your identity. I mean, I went to Colombia. I play one touch, I play two touch. The coach tells me straight, I'll substitute you. It's okay, I'll take you off. I want you to do something that is extraordinary that no other player in the team can do. That is why we've given you the number 10 shirt. You're our playmaker. You must make things happen. You must do something so that these people that are here at the stadium, they must come back and look forward for next week that the foreign player that we've given him the number 10 shirt is going to give us something extraordinary.
Yeah. Now let's talk about you going to Eteki. I always hear most players that leave South Africa go play overseas, there's cultural shocks and everything. When You go to a country, they don't speak English. You need to learn the language first. The whole experience of being in Turkey, like, how was it like?
Yeah, it's true. Cultural shock. Seriously, cultural shock. I'll make you laugh. And I know Steve Kombela always enjoys this one. This one it is his favorite one. I grew up in Joburg. Here in Joburg, we've never seen snow. So Steve is from Joburg. He has seen,
yeah, at least it's familiar.
yeah, the snow. So we in Turkey preparing for one game in Istanbul. And it starts snowing. You know, when it starts snowing, the snow doesn't come, you know, like what you see on TV, the white snow. No. It is like, you know, cardboard, when you burn a cardboard.
Yeah.
When you hit it against something, the ashes from the cardboard is a little bit brown and like, so now they're falling all over the sky. So we training there, and then I said to Steve, "Hey man, Steve, you know this guy, I don't know what is he thinking, that you are training here and he's busy burning something somewhere, La Para." And Steve looks at me and he cracked himself for a good 15 minutes. He says to me, "Yeah, we're clever, so you think that you know everything." So as I look on the ground, you know, behind the poles, I see that it is forming and it is becoming now clearer and white. Then I say to Steve, hey boy, this is snow. He says, "Yeah, you don't know these things, but Nina, Joburg, you think you're clever than us from Emaplazi." So, you know, when you go to Turkey, that is the first thing that you need to understand, especially winter period, that snow or no snow, the game goes on. Rain or no rain, the field is muddy, like in those games in England 1973 where they would play in a muddy field, a bumpy field is not playable. You play. The food, it is a shock. It is a different thing. The showers, it is also a different thing. You know, we asked Tina Laikaya, you know, after the game, we just take off our clothes. We all guys in the change room. We change. We all naked. There, you can't do that. You got to wrap yourself, close the shower curtain. You know, you get a shower curtain. You're alone in the shower. You know, it's the toilets. You know, it's a Muslim country. So the toilets also is different. You know, the curfews from the team. You know, like you being signed from another province. Sorry, you've got foreigners. They get to be put into apartments. What? If you're not married, you don't have a wife, you stay in the clubhouse. 8 o'clock, clubhouse door closes. If the door closes at 8, you're not back. You must find your way to Zolala. So there's a lot of things. Sometimes league games kick off at 10, at 11, Sunday morning. You know, you go to the change room. There's something that is called concentration time. About 30 minutes, you quiet. You visualize playing the game. You've closed your eyes. Nobody moves. It's quietness. Things like that. You know, you get so many challenges, and then the saddest part on my side was I leave South Africa. I'm part of Bafana. I go to Turkey. I don't become part of Bafana. I'm dropped from the national team. Now you have a coach. It's challenging now. You have a coach that has other foreign players, and all foreign players in Turkey now are going to represent their countries. Now you stay there. Now the coach that brought you from South Africa has just left because of financial differences with the club. Now a new coach comes in, a German-Turkish coach. That time the German central midfielders, they're big as Effenberg. If you're short, you're stocky, you're big like your Luther Matthäus. Tebzangwana, skinny, scrawny, not tall, not your aggressive player. Now you meet this coach. He doesn't even understand that how do you play central midfield with that type of body. Everybody can go to their countries to represent their countries. You are a foreigner, you stay in the country. So he start doubting you now. Actually, are you the it? Or are you JSTT? So now a lot of challenges, when I was in Turkey. But I'll be honest to you, even though with our challenges, we became good ambassadors. That is why you could see it was the first time it was funny, and then after funny it was myself, Shoes, and Steve, with Kuse, and then later on there was Linda Buthelezi, Chris Mwakapuki, Dumisani, Junaid Hartley, Helman Mkelele, all of them, Maimani Piri, they all flocked to Turkey because of even though the struggle was there, but we didn't let the guard, we didn't drop our guard. We became great ambassadors for South Africa, and that is why Turkey will always be a favorite, transition state of any player that wants to go and play in Europe from South Africa. They will take you as early as 5 o'clock in the morning to say, for as long as you're from South Africa, there was a good report from the previous South African players, so we can sign you.
Yeah. There's something here Roy Mahamud is saying. Roy Mahamud is saying, no wonder you don't want to shower. You're skinny with ponytail.
No, but coach. Tell people saying that they ask me, why did I have a ponytail? And I can't explain. But the nicest part that I like about the ponytail is that he a trend. Each and every province you'd find youngsters sporting
and a ponytail.
But to be honest, when I look at it now, I ask myself, what had gone into my head that I was just going to a ponytail? And you must understand, Tina, our hair, it is not a straight out hair. This, what do you call this? I had already started with the hairpiece.
My Brazilian weave. Yeah. Okay. Now, coach, normally what I do is I have 5 quick questions that I ask all my guests. So, yeah. Here is my 5.
Yo.
You must choose one.
Okay. Give me another 2.
That 2. There's another 2 that's coming.
Okay, Jomo.
Okay. You're selecting your 11. There's 1 spot left in the midfield. Do you put yourself in or Dr. Kumal?
Oh, 1 spot left.
Yeah, in the midfield.
That I go in or who Doctor goes in?
Yeah. Who goes in between the 2 of you?
Who Doctor's Oham?
Best player you've ever faced?
Best player I've ever faced?
Yeah.
I'd say Neil Tovey.
Neil Tovey. Select your 5-a-side.
5?
Your 5-a-side team.
Monique Joseph.
Okay.
Andile Opa.
Okay.
Jabu.
Mashao.
Yeah.
Shaful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gift Leremi.
That's your part.
Tebogo Koyana and Tebogo on the bench.
Roma, this is, I'll put you in the stand, man. Yeah, that's why he's not in your team. That's why he's not in your team. Coach, we've been talking for almost 55 minutes. You see how time flies when you're enjoying the conversation. But yeah, man. But yeah, Coach. I just want to thank you, man, for taking out time in your moment there with COVID, relaxing at home, to have a chat with me on the gram. It means a lot to me and some of the guys that are here, because we didn't get the opportunity to watch you play. We only saw later stages where you played, and it's such an honor to have you, and all the best with whatever it is that you're doing. Where if you are gonna come back to coaching or not come back to coaching, we don't know. But yeah, all the best, coach.
No, thanks. And then can I answer that part? But we am who talked. No, I'm not. I know if you have a doctor in your team, you have the whole South Africa following the team.
We are trained and grounded.
Sure. So if you have a doctor, you have the...
Thanks, Coach, man. Thank you for your time.
No, thanks. I must say thanks to you, bro.
Yeah. All the best, we'll have this some other time again.
No. I hope it isn't a lockdown. Even after lockdown.
Now we're going forward. It's not only for a lockdown.
Okay. Hey, go figure it. No, okay, no, thanks, bro. It was fun to be with you.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. Sharp.
Later.